Final.
Come, championship bound, baby! Woo! Big love, baby! Woo! To hear, man. It got a little crazy out there, but we made it through.
We're gonna keep stacking the day, so see you in the championship.
Bow, bow, bow! Let's go!
Have you ever seen a game where the tension was so high you could feel the crowd's heartbeat in your chest? That was tonight, and at the center of it all were Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham, delivering a statement performance that was part skill, part fire, and 100% dominance. But this wasn't just basketball. This was personal. Across from them stood Jacy, Sheldon, and Marina Mabrey, aggressive, relentless, and not afraid to push the limits. Literally, from sharp elbows to an eye poke incident that had fans gasping, the Fever stars weren't just fighting for points, they were fighting for respect. And here's the thing, instead of backing down, Clark and Cunningham flipped the script. They turned chaos into composure, physical play into highlight moments, and by the final buzzer, the Indiana Fever didn't just win the game, they won the mental war. In this breakdown, we're going beyond the box score, showing you the crucial plays, the psychological battles, and the exact moments the momentum shifted. Because if you think this was just a regular season win, you're missing the real story. Let's dive in.
It was chippy the last time these two teams faced off too. Sophie Cunningham suffered her ankle injury in that game, but in addition to that, she actually had part of her front tooth knocked out. She made contact with Jacy Sheldon as Caitlin Clark knocks down the triple.
But what people don't talk about enough is how hard you have to work to be able to be that good. All the hours that she's spent perfecting her craft.
Retreating, firing, and hitting.
So she can do that.
On Indiana arguing the call.
I mean, step back, you're late. She almost looks you in the eye.
If you've been following this Fever season closely, you already know this game wasn't born in the opening tip-off. It's been brewing for weeks. Marina Mabrey's name has been floating around every post-game thread for one reason. She has a reputation, the elbows, the flops, the accidental collisions that somehow happen every game. And Jacy Sheldon, she's new to the league, but the rookie plays like she's been taking lessons from the dirtiest pages of the veteran handbook. Hyper-aggressive, always in your face, and if you're not ready, she'll catch you slipping.
Can we talk about the physicality for a second? Two players on the Indiana Fever got injured last night by the same player on the Connecticut Sun, and that was Jacy Sheldon. And I tweeted about it. She was playing so reckless. I'm fine with players playing aggressive, but there is a thin line between playing aggressive and playing reckless. When you dive for a ball, you don't land on somebody's leg. She landed on top of Sydney Colson's leg, and her leg got stuck and literally twisted around. Both injuries, both Sydney Colson and Sophie Cunningham, were contact injuries.
Literally. The Fever knew it. The fans knew it. And judging by the pregame chatter, Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham definitely knew it. Flash to first quarter, 7:32 on the clock. Clark is dribbling up top, scanning the defense. Sheldon closes in. Too close. In the replay, you see it. A quick hand jab, fingers straight out, and suddenly Clark's head jerks back. Slow it down, and there's no debate. Sheldon's hand goes straight for the eyes. The crowd's collective gasp is followed by the broadcast audio we'll never forget. That's a flagrant. Clark blinks hard, shakes it off, but her glare says everything.
This is a reckless play. This is reckless. It is dangerous. There is no, and this angle makes it look even worse. It is dangerous. Like, Sid Colson is between her and the ball. Sid Colson is in fact between Jacy Sheldon and the ball, and she dives through her knee. It wasn't even called as a foul. It wasn't even called as a foul.
You don't poke the bear, and you definitely don't poke Caitlin Clark in the eye. Then came the second act. Midway through the second quarter, Sophie Cunningham is tracking Mabrey in transition. There's a jostle, a bump, and then, bam! Mabrey's elbow swings back into Cunningham's chest. It's subtle enough to maybe slide past casual viewers, but Sophie's mic picks it up. You serious? If you know Cunningham, you know she's no stranger to contact. But that reaction wasn't about pain, it was about disrespect. And the Fever bench, they clocked it immediately. This wasn't basketball, this was bait. The Dallas Floppers struck again. Yes, we're stealing that nickname straight from WNBA Twitter. And they were hoping the Fever would take the bite, because that's what Mabrey and Sheldon do best. Push you until you snap, then act like the victim when the whistle blows. The brilliance of Indiana's response was that they didn't give them that satisfaction. They didn't retaliate with cheap shots. Instead, they retaliated with execution. Still, let's not pretend this wasn't getting under fans' skin. Social media lit up mid-game with slowed down clips. clips, frame-by-frame breakdowns, and the kind of outraged threads that rack up thousands of likes in minutes. One fan tweeted, "If Sheldon's not suspended after this, what's the point of replay?" Another wrote, "Mabrey is one flail away from starring in a telenovela." But here's the thing, while everyone was raging online, on the court, Clark and Cunningham were cooking up revenge in real time. Every bump from Sheldon was met with a perfectly timed screen that left her chasing shadows. Every swing from Mabrey was answered with a cut, a pass, and a bucket in her face. By the third quarter, the tide had turned. Sheldon, who started the game hounding Clark, was suddenly a step behind on every possession. Mabrey's physicality had turned into desperation fouls. The more they tried to disrupt Indiana, the more Indiana made them look like they were chasing ghosts. And if you think the Fever didn't notice the poetic justice, think again. Cameras caught Cunningham smirking after a Clark 3 splashed over Mabrey's contest. Not a word, just the kind of look that says, we're not playing your game, we're winning ours. The final whistle didn't just seal the Fever's victory, it sealed the narrative. Mabrey and Sheldon came in trying to be the disruptors, the villains of the night. But by the end, the only thing they disrupted was their own team's chance at a win. The dirty tactics didn't work because Indiana stayed locked in. They didn't get dragged into the muck, and in a league where emotions can swing games, that mental discipline is as valuable as a 30-point scorer. So yes, the eye poke will live on in replay threads, and the elbow clip will keep making the rounds with angry captions. But the real highlight? It's that the Fever proved you can shut down the villains without stooping to their level, and still walk out with the scoreboard on your side. The box score tells part of the story. Clark, 22 points, 8 assists. Cunningham, 18 points, 3 steals. But stats alone can't capture the swagger, the precision, and the sheer satisfaction of what they pulled off. Let's start with the moment that sealed the night. Fourth quarter, just over 2 minutes left. The Fever are up by 6. Dallas still hanging on. Clark dribbles at the top. Mabrey shadowing her like it's a personal mission. One crossover, then another. Step back, splash. The 3 rips through the net, and Clark doesn't just jog back. She locks eyes with Mabrey, that ice-cold stare down that says, remember this next time you swing an elbow. The crowd loses it. That's a dagger, and everyone in the arena knows it. Then there's Sophie Cunningham's statement play. Mid-third quarter, Sheldon presses tight. Clark threads a bounce pass inside, Cunningham catches, takes the contact from Sheldon, and somehow muscles the ball in. Whistle blows. And one, Sophie doesn't just walk to the line, she turns to the crowd, flexes, and roars. That's not just a bucket, that's psychological warfare, Fever style. The beauty of it wasn't just the highlights, it was how calculated the revenge was. Dallas came in with over-aggression, thinking they could rattle Indiana out of rhythm. The Fever flipped that into an advantage. Every time Dallas overplayed a passing lane, backdoor cut. Every time Sheldon lunged for a steal, Clark punished them with a skip pass to an open shooter. The Fever's ball movement was surgical, and you could see Dallas's frustration building with every clean look Indiana generated. Coach's game plan was simple: make them chase. And when you've got Clark orchestrating, that's a nightmare for any defense. She'd draw 2 defenders, kick to the wing, then relocate for a return pass, all before Dallas could recover. Cunningham fed off it perfectly, cutting at the exact moments Dallas's help defense left her lane unguarded. Even defensively, Indiana's stars got their licks in, the right way. Cunningham's 3 steals weren't flashy, but they were momentum shifters, stopping Dallas just as they looked ready to rally. Clark's defense in the final minutes forced Mabrey into settling for contested jumpers, taking Dallas out of any hope for a comeback. And then there was the post-game mic drop. Reporters asked Clark about the physical play. Her answer, pure leadership. We play tough, but we play the right way. That's the difference. Dallas brought chaos. Indiana brought composure. And when you combine composure with 2 players as competitive and as dangerous as Clark and Cunningham, you don't just survive the storm. You turn it into your highlight reel. By the final buzzer, the scoreboard read Fever win, but the subtext was even louder. You can poke, elbow, and shove all you want. This team won't just push back. They'll make you pay for it in points, in plays, and in pride. And if you're Dallas, the warning is clear. When Clark and Cunningham decide it's payback time, you don't just lose the game, you lose the mental war. Every great game has that moment when the momentum doesn't just shift. It tilts so hard the other team never recovers. For the Indiana Fever, that moment came right after the chaos of the dirty plays. Dallas thought the eye poke and elbow would rattle the Fever. Instead, it lit the fuse for a 17-2 run that slammed the door shut. And here's the beauty of it. It wasn't just Clark and Cunningham, it was everybody. Let's break it down. The run started with patience. Coming out of a timeout, the Fever ran a clean set where Aaliyah Boston laid a monster screen at the top of the key, freeing Clark for an open three. Bang! The next possession, Dallas overplayed again, and Boston slipped the screen, catching a pocket pass from Clark for an easy layup. That's a veteran move from a young star. Taking the aggression right back at them, then came Kelsey Mitchell. 2 plays in a row, she attacked straight downhill. First, a hesitation dribble froze her defender, and she finished through contact. Then, next trip down, she drove baseline, forcing Dallas's big to rotate and zipped a pass to Boston for another easy bucket. The Fever's spacing was perfect, making Dallas look like they were chasing shadows. But the tactical shift? That was Coach Christy Side's masterstroke. Midway through the run, she switched the Fever into a matchup zone, a subtle tweak that completely threw Dallas out of rhythm. Mabrey, who'd been hunting one-on-one looks, suddenly found herself surrounded by bodies. Her driving lanes clogged. The frustration boiled over. Cameras even caught her throwing her hands up at the refs after a no call, her voice carrying loud enough for the courtside mics to pick up. The zone didn't just stop Dallas, it fed Indiana's transition game, and that's where Sophie Cunningham made the play that turned Gainbridge Fieldhouse into a madhouse. Dallas tried to swing the ball around the perimeter, but Cunningham read it like a book, jumped the passing lane, and took off. The crowd rose as she sprinted down the floor, one defender trailing. She gathered, powered up, and if you're watching the replay right now, you can see the explosion in the stands as she finished at the rim. Call it a layup, call it a dunk attempt. Whatever it was the emotional exclamation point the run needed. The Fever didn't just keep scoring, they made Dallas work for every single look. Over a 5-minute span, the Wings hit just 1 shot, and even that was a contested jumper with the shot clock expiring. Every rebound was fought for. Every pass pressured. You could feel the air draining from Dallas's sails. And then the ball movement hit its peak. On one possession, every Fever player touched the ball. Clark drew 2 defenders, swung it to Mitchell, who hit Boston in the post. Boston kicked it out to the corner. Cunningham drove baseline, then zipped it back to Clark for a wide open 3. Splash! That was the moment you could see the Wings' shoulders drop. What made the run so devastating wasn't just the scoring, it was the control. Indiana dictated every possession on both ends. Even the crowd could sense it. With every bucket, the cheers grew louder, and when Dallas called timeout after Clark's 3rd triple of the stretch, the building was shaking. The final sequence of the run summed it up perfectly. Clark walked the ball up, took her time, then called for Boston's screen. Dallas switched, leaving a mismatch. Clark hit Boston inside, who immediately found Mitchell cutting backdoor. Easy layup, 17-2 complete. Game effectively over. From that point forward, Dallas was playing uphill against a team that was locked in, confident, and feeding off the crowd. And that's the thing about turning points. You rarely know it in the moment, but looking back, it's obvious. After that 17-2 stretch, the Fever weren't just winning, they were in control. When the buzzer finally sounded, it wasn't just another regular season win. It was a statement. You can try to push them around, you can test their composure, but if you poke the bear, or in this case the Fever, you'd better be ready for the storm that follows. The buzzer had barely sounded before the ripple effects of this game started spreading, not just in the box score, but in the standings, the media narrative, and every corner of social media. First, the standings. The Indiana Fever now sit 5th in the Eastern Conference, right in the thick of the playoff race. This wasn't just a morale boost, it was a high-value win against a direct competitor in the postseason picture. Every game counts now, and this one gave Indiana both the win column bump and the head-to-head confidence they'll need down the stretch. But here's where it gets even juicier, the reactions. Let's start with the fans. Within minutes, Mabrey and Caitlin Clark were both trending. One tweet that racked up over 15K likes read, "Mabrey got cooked. Clark turned her into a highlight reel." Another simply posted a gif of Cunningham flexing with the caption, "Energy we needed." Then came the analysts. The big one? Stephen A. Smith on ESPN's post-game hit, "I don't want to hear another word about Caitlin Clark not being ready for the physicality of the WNBA. She's the truth." Tonight it wasn't just about the buckets. It was about her composure, her leadership, and the way she made everyone around her better. You try to bully her, she'll bury you with a 3 in your face. Even former players chimed in. A retired WNBA guard tweeted, "That 17-2 run was textbook. This is how you shut down dirty play. With execution, not retaliation." But of course, no great game is complete without controversy. And this one had plenty to debate. The officiating was, let's just say, flexible in its definition of physicality. The Sheldon eye poke, no flagrant call. Mabrey's elbow into Cunningham, just a common foul. In an era where slow motion replay is on every fan's phone seconds after the whistle, that kind of leniency fuels heated discussions. Some fans saw it as letting the game breathe. I'd rather the refs swallow the whistle than turn it into free throw practice. Others felt it crossed the line. If the league wants to protect players, that's a flagrant every time. Even Fever head coach Christy Sides was diplomatic but pointed in her post-game presser. We teach our players to play through contact, and I'm proud they did that tonight, but safety matters. We trust the league will review it, and trust me, this officiating debate is going to be catnip for the comment section. Fans love nothing more than relitigating calls frame by frame, and with these clips already circulating online, expect this to keep buzzing for days. Meanwhile, Dallas now has a problem, not just in the loss column, but in perception. The dirty play label isn't going away, and with high-profile moments like Sheldon's eye poke and Mabrey's elbow replaying on sports shows, it's going to hang over their season. Teams talk, players remember, and in a league this competitive, reputations stick. For Indiana, though, this win changes more than just numbers. It sends a signal, both to opponents and to themselves. Earlier in the season, physical aggressive teams sometimes got the better of them. They'd be knocked off rhythm, forced into turnovers, and drawn into chippy exchanges. Tonight, they took every bit of contact, turned it into fuel, and ran their offense with precision. That's growth. That's playoff basketball. The stakes from here only get higher. With the Fever climbing into 5th, the path to securing a top 4 seed and home court advantage in the first round is suddenly in play. That means every game, every possession matters. And let's not forget the entertainment factor. The Clark-Cunningham duo just gave the fans one of the most compelling revenge arcs of the season. You've got drama, rivalry, physical play, highlight reel moments, and a post-game victory lap in the standings. If the WNBA is looking for storylines to hook casual viewers, this one's gift-wrapped. Looking ahead, the Fever's schedule doesn't get any easier. They've got matchups with top-tier defenses coming up, which means this newfound composure under pressure is going to be tested immediately. But after watching them dismantle Dallas's over-aggression, it's hard not to believe they can handle whatever's coming. As for the fans, tonight was more than a win. It was a show. You got the tension of playoff level stakes, the satisfaction of silencing rivals, and the thrill of watching your stars answer back without losing their cool. And the internet? Well, it's already rewriting the game's title in real time. My personal favorite so far, Caitlin and Sophie, 1 eye poke into elbow, 0. So where does that leave us? The Fever are riding high, the Wings are licking their wounds, and the league just got a reminder that this Indiana squad isn't here to be pushed around. Now it's your turn. Was this the game that proves the Fever can make a deep playoff run? Or did the refs let way too much slide? Drop your takes below, and yes, go ahead and tag me in your slow motion breakdowns. This conversation is far from over. Alright, Fever fans, and even you Wings fans still lurking in the comments, let's talk. We just witnessed one of the most dramatic, physical, and flat-out entertaining games of the season. You had your heroes in Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham, not just putting up numbers, but putting on a clinic in composure. You had your villains, or at least the players wearing the black hats tonight, in Marina Mabrey and Jacy Sheldon, who seemed determined to turn a basketball game into a contact sport. And in the end, you had a scoreboard that told the only story that really matters. Indiana Fever win. But here's where you come in. Let's settle it once and for all. Who's the real villain here? Is it Mabrey with her elbows flops and constant jawing? Or is it Sheldon, the rookie who came in swinging, or in this case poking, right from the jump? Drop your hot takes below. I'm talking unfiltered, no-holds-barred fan energy. I'm reading every single one, and the spiciest takes might even make it into the next video. And while you're typing, let's give credit where it's due. Clark and Cunningham might just be the best duo in the WNBA right now. Think about it. They combined for 40 points, 11 assists, 3 steals, and more mental toughness than you'll see in most playoff games. If you agree, smash that like button right now. Let's see if we can get this video to 5,000 likes before tip-off of the next Fever game. But this isn't just about one win. This is about momentum. The Fever are now 5th in the East, right in the middle of the playoff chase. Every win matters from here on out, and if they keep this fire, this discipline, and this edge, they're not just making the postseason, they're making noise in the postseason. So if you believe in this squad, if you believe they can go from fun story to legit contender, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single breakdown the rest of the way. Here's what's coming up next on this channel. We're diving deep into how Indiana's offense is evolving, why Clark's passing might actually be more dangerous than her scoring, and how Cunningham's defense sets the tone in games like this. Plus, yes, it will keep tabs on the wings because something tells me this rivalry isn't over. And hey, I know a lot of you have opinions about the officiating tonight. Did the refs let way too much slide? Should Sheldon's eye poke have been a flagrant? Should Mabrey have been hit with a tech for that elbow? Or do you like the physical style and think it makes the game better? This is your space. Let's turn the comments into the post-game debate the league wishes it could moderate. Before you go, I want to challenge you. Tag a friend who doesn't normally watch the WNBA and tell them to watch this game's highlights. Show them Clark's stare down 3. Show them Cunningham's and 1 flex. Show them the crowd losing their minds during that 17-2 run. This is how the league grows, with nights like this, rivalries like this, and fans like you bringing the energy. So Fever Nation, was this just another regular season W, or was this the moment that proves Indiana is ready for prime time? Who's walking out of this game with the hero cape, and who's walking out with the villain mask? Let's talk about it. Smash like for Clark and Cunningham. Drop your villain verdict in the comments. Subscribe if you're ready for the playoff push. The stage is set, the stakes are high, and if tonight was any preview of what's coming in the postseason, we're about to have a wild ride.